Good afternoon, realtor friends and mortgage professionals from across the country, and welcome to the National Lunch and Learn League. Every month, we get together with our real estate referral partners and our friends in the real estate, title, and mortgage business, and we host a get together that we call our Lunch and Learn League or our National Lunch and Learn League. It's a real privilege for me to host realtors from across the country, as I've been in a real estate leadership role for almost 30 years, been licensed for 34. But essentially now I get to travel the country and meet realtors. I really don't spend a lot of time with realtors um, that aren't top producers. I really invest a lot of my time and energy interviewing and understanding the best practices of top residential real estate agents from across the country. And I would say that I get curious when somebody crosses over 20, 30 million a year, but I'm fascinated when I see a real estate agent, especially an individual real estate agent selling more than 100 homes a year. I myself was a Hall of Fame level producer at Remax, and I was also a broker owner of my own facilities for about 15 years in Southeast Florida. But like I said, today I get to share with you what we're learning from top realtors across the country. My name is Russ Fitzpatrick. I founded an organization that's called Annie Mac Works. We work for the loan officers of Annie Mac Home Mortgage to help their realtor referral partners sell more houses, make more money, become more professional, and expand their horizons and their earning potential with Annie Mac Works. Today, we're focusing on the reality that we're almost a year into quarantine. We're almost a year into nervous social distancing and anxieties caused by COVID. There may be a light at the end of the tunnel with the vaccinations that are starting to happen across the country. Some of us, including myself, have had COVID now. I was diagnosed with COVID in December of 2020 and recovered fairly well. Several of my best friends and family members have had positive COVID diagnosis, including my wife, Carrie. So we have, you know, wrestled with quiet times. Some of us enjoy the socially distant, more privatized or more compartmentalized way of living. Some of us are craving that social interaction and we're feeling unquenched, um, you know, socially speaking, or even in your business. You might be a consummate networking residential real estate professional. You may be involved in your community in fascinating ways that you can't pull off during COVID. So, we're going to talk about how you can keep yourself and your service top of mind with your realtors. We'll show you during the Quarantined Realtor and the meetings that we host in the future how virtual open houses and virtual showings are changing the way that consumers are buying and listing houses, how we can upgrade your sales funnel and help you nurture your leads more effectively, even offer you some services that AnnieMac might be able to help you with nurturing your leads. And I'm going to share with you some interesting uh, observations about text and how text has changed the way we relate to real estate buyers and sellers. And I think I am fascinated by the new world of predictive data analytics and how you can mine your database with a almost like a spy, almost like a secret monitoring device on your customers to see if they're looking for real estate online or if they're uh, searching mortgage calculators or doing cost analysis of their home's value, where you can get some insider information on what your database is doing online. And I think that the most important thing is that we kind of understand how the new normal feels. You know, can you take a listing in a Zoom meeting? Yes, you can. We've proved it. Can you show a house and get an offer online? Yes, we can do that. My nephew is moving from North Carolina to Washington State, and he's purchased his entire home without ever leaving North Carolina. So it's happening all over the world. Sight unseen is not the same as it was 10 years ago. We can look at properties online and discover the pros and cons of the features, advantages, and benefits of a home without ever entering it. Is that the norm? No. But is it becoming more and more normal? And are we taking listings on Zoom? Are we supporting the marketing decisions of a seller by providing video content and testimonials like the ways we've never before? Yes, I think there's certainly some best practices that we can share with you. I want to thank my good buddy, originating branch manager Jason Kemagore up in Louisville, Kentucky. I am a big fan of that region of the country. I love horse country. I love bourbon country. I love the equestrian flavor that runs through that section of Kentucky. In fact, I'm going to be in Lexington on February 18th and 19th, taking my own bourbon and equestrian tour. I've been told it's full season, and we're going to be able to visit a nursery and see some thoroughbred foals early on in their life's journey. But I do want to thank Jason for getting his gang together in Louisville and helping spread the good word of what Annie Mac Home Mortgage is all about. How Annie Mac works is really attempting to lock arms and help our realtor partners. So welcome to all the realtors that are with Jason in and around Louisville. And I got to tell you, my spider senses have been tingling for about a year. I felt like a crash was imminent. I had all those, when a when you've ever experienced such a severe economic downturn as we experienced in 2007, 8, 9, and 10, there's always going to be a residual effect in all of your decision making for the rest of your life. At least for me and the families that went through the Great Depression, they ended up saving more, cash is king, holding more equity, remaining in a more conservative financial position because they had gone through the Great Depression. Like that, my lifestyle changed drastically. My credit scores went through the roof after the crash, went up and up and up because I was not borrowing the way I was before the crash. I didn't extend myself as far. I used, formal saving mechanisms that I hadn't employed prior to the crash. So, fortunately, the last 12 years have been kinder to me than the 12 years before the crash of 07, 8, 9, and 10. But there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, and a lot of concern about a future crash, right? Some of your buyers are starting to say things to you like, I might not want to buy now at the top of the market because there's probably going to be a crash soon. Some of your buyers are starting to say things like, isn't the economic turmoil, a concern? But your listings are still flying off the shelf. In most of the communities that we serve, listings are uh, very rare and very valuable commodities because essentially the consumers that we serve are getting into bidding wars on listings. But there is a sense of anxiety among a percentage of borrowers and buyers that we may be due for a correction soon. I don't know the answer to that question, but I will tell you that when we started to analyze this, it was about how long or how drastic this crisis will be. And it's going on 12 months since March of 2020, when we were first hit with the news that all the St. Patrick's Day's festivities were going to be canceled across the country. And is a year a long time? Yes. Is that a V recovery or a U recovery? I couldn't say for sure. I can only say that the stock market has recovered. The low interest rates have stimulated the best residential real estate transactional environment that we've had in nearly a decade and a half. Probably '05 and '06 were the best years for transaction volume, and here we are eclipsing even those numbers. So when something like this is going on, a lot of us say we hope for a V recovery, but we plan for a U recovery. I would almost say that it's crisscrossed itself, and it's given us an opportunity to experience um, financial windfalls. A lot of us, because if you're in the real estate and mortgage space right now, the leads are converting. There's an adrenaline coursing through the largest percentage of buyers and sellers to get these deals done while the interest rates are low, to get these houses sold while the demand is high, and to get in on your house where you can get in during this pandemic. I closed on a $540,000 home up in the mountains of North Carolina. My payments less than it was on my $300,000 home 10 years ago. So the payments are so low for buyers to go ahead and decide to get into these houses while they can. So it's kind of been I don't know, it's kind of been a juxtaposition of realities, right? Here we're facing record unemployment, historic pandemic, we're unprecedented social distancing and anxieties throughout every area of endeavor. But then we're also struck with the highest demand from the buyer and borrower and refinance market, and the highest demand for properties that we've ever seen, simultaneous to all these market conditions in flux. um, I myself try to follow two little rules when things are looking a little hairy. The first rule is to, well, I love to mastermind with others, but that's not the rule. But if you enjoy masterminding with like minded professionals, we're going to create an environment for you to do that. But the couple rules that I'd like to consider following are: number one, when you're drifting in a raft down the Snake River or down the Colorado River or down the Nantahala River out here in Western Carolina, you can sit back and relax because sailing's pretty smooth. You don't have to paddle. But when the white water starts to hit and things get a little bit rough, well, then everybody knows that their guide is going to yell at them to row and row and row hard and paddle hard. And the reason I bring that up is because, you know, it's really tempting when the whitewater in a raft starts to hit to kind of just sit there with your eyes wide open and go into shock and forget to paddle. Likewise, it's easy to fall into complacency during something like a pandemic or even the quarantining as a realtor. I can't possibly prospect by owners. I can't possibly prospect expireds. I can't possibly go after my sphere of influence in the way that I would have before the pandemic, or I couldn't possibly, do any direct mail or any geographic farming during a pandemic. So you rationalize taking less effort when the turmoil is occurring. And I would just like to advise you, if we're going to work together, to get the most out of you. And isn't that what a coach does? A coach is a person who gets more out of you than you can get out of yourself. And the first rule that we're going to follow if we're going to work together at all is you got to get in and start to do some of the work. And I think now is probably the best time that I could think of to go out and become a listing agent, because the listing inventory in 2021 and beyond is going to be exponentially more valuable to realtors because of several factors we'll get into in a little bit. But I think that your listing inventory is important, and lack of listings could really hurt you in those tumultuous times, right? If you're relying on just converting buyers and you're not putting listing signs in the ground, you might be capsized pretty hard. So the first rule is sellers, buyers, old leads, social media, making special offers to your farm and absentee owners, sales funnel work, getting into this new world order of predictive data analytics, and really just get in and row. And the second rule is just know what you're doing. And, I'm speaking to realtors all over the country right now. And I'll quote Abraham Lincoln at the top: if I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. And I think that's what we mean by know what you're doing. If someone asked you to take your business to 3 closings per month every month, and you were selling an average of a $300,000 home, somebody just said, "Hey, Beth, hey, Bob, hey, Jimmy, can you go ahead and start closing 3 homes a month every month and make yourself $27,000 per month in, March, April, May, June, July of 2021?" And for most realtors, the answer to that is, I don't know how to do that. But for some of the realtors in the room, and you know who you are, you know precisely how to do that. You've been doing it during good times and bad. You've had peaks and valleys in your real estate career just like everybody else, but it's not difficult for you to make 30 grand a month or 20 grand a month, is it? But there are other realtors in the room that just don't know how to do that. I'm mostly interested in agents that close more than 5 homes per month, and I really get excited when an agent is closing above 100 sales per month, and we start to, you know, nurture that relationship and learn what they're doing. But think about this one more time. If I said you've got from March 1, 21 to March, 1, 22, and you have to make $540,000 in commissions during that year, could you do that? Again, some of you say, no problem. I do it all the time. But there's a percentage, and I think a growing percentage, of emerging real estate agents that are making less than $100,000 a year that have absolutely no concept for what they would do if they were charged with the responsibility to acquire 5 closings per month. And having been a residential real estate agent and having managed many residential real estate agents that make more than $500,000 a year, I feel like we're uniquely positioned and our perspective is unbiased. We're not trying to sell you any products here, folks. We're not trying to sell you a service or a coaching program. In fact, we're sponsored entirely by Annie Mac Home Mortgage, and our intensive intention is to help. That's it, just help. So, do you believe that there's someone out there that knows how to do that, to sell 3 to 5 homes uh, a month and make $300,000 to $500,000 a year? And the last question I have at the bottom of the black on your screen is: do you think that the same skill set that it takes to sell 4 to 6 houses a year or 10 houses a year is the same skill set that it takes to sell 4 to 6 houses a month? No, it's a completely different job. It involves much more technology, much more automation, much more CRM, much more real estate robotics and automatic text exchanges with your consumers. It probably involves a follow-up system like a Boomtown Leads or a Commissions Inc. or a KV Core or a potentially a new and extraordinary product called YLOPO that I've heard about. And it probably has to do with some of the predictive data analytics things and some of the farming things we're going to talk to you about today. But most realtors aren't doing those things, are they, Jason in Louisville? Most realtors are kind of working their sphere of influence and building relationships with their friends and family and taking some referrals from their past customers, but they're not going out and aggressively marketing themselves in a way that could result to 3 to 5 closings a month. And for those of you who are in the rooms that are already doing that, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who are in the room struggling under, say, 8 or 10 closings a year, or even 10 or 12 closings a year, I want to invite you and encourage you to take a look at the way we're doing things. So we're going to follow 2 rules: row hard now, which means we're going to get some work done. And we're really going to compare notes so that we all know what we're doing. We're going to be soliciting buyers and sellers. We're not going to be making any cold calls. I promise you that. I was a cold call cowboy for 20 years. Every single morning I called the expireds and buying owners. Every single day for 20 years I cold called expireds and buying owners. But I've learned through technology, social media, texting, emailing, sending videos, we don't have to cold call anymore. At least I don't. And I take listings every single day. I promise you that. I assigned a listing for $460,000 this week. I assign listings to my realtors across the country. And we're going to be serving these customers together. The customers that wish to buy and sell between now and the summer. Most importantly, we're going to time block. If you'd like to work together with us, we've got to assign certain time for certain things. And I'm going to throw this out there in the Quarantined Realtor and in the Fitzpatrick formula. We follow a 10-hour a week time block. So roughly 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's pretty much our time block. Everything else in our work life is fairly responsive to ad calls, leads, or whatever. But we have to time block for at least 10 hours a week in order to be successful. And we're going to focus on 4 channels for time blocking. A consistent player for me in listing acquisition has been absentee owners and database mining. We're going to focus on both database mining and absentee owners together. We're also going to refocus you on subdivision farming. My goodness, what a pride in ownership. What a transferable skill there is to manage a 600,000, 1,200 home farm area and to specialize in it, to know it in and out, and to know its models, and to know the square footages, and to know the prices, and to know the neighbors, and to know the schools, and to know the community, churches and synagogues, and to know the veterinarians, and to know the pet groomers, and just really be ingrained in a subdivision as a subdivision expert. And then last but not least, we're going to show you some new ways that you can get some more juice out of your season leads. You know, you've got leads that came in last year, the year before. What do you do with those season leads? Can you assign them to somebody to nurture them for you, or can we teach you how to nurture them yourselves? Both things are true. So we start out with absentee owners, an owner of a house, a townhouse, condo, multifamily unit that does not live in the unit. This is defined as an absentee owner. AnnieMac Works has a standalone course. Just go to anniemacworks.com. You can access the absentee owner course. What I'll tell you after 34 years of selling real estate and managing a bunch of other realtors that do, absentee owners are easier to list and easier to service than normal listings. They're easier than FSBOs because they're not angry. They're easier than expireds because they haven't been through the ringer. It's easier than cold calling because they live somewhere else, but they own a home where you're at. And sometimes you can make a quick connection. You don't have to, during the quarantine, you don't have to go to their home to meet with them. You can meet with them online at Zoom. You can stay home. And many of these absentee owners right now have enjoyed, 8, 10, 12 years of appreciation. And they may be looking forward, to the political unrest, to the economic unrest, to the unemployment numbers, to the anxieties that some people feel that there might be an adjustment coming down the, the down the path. But if you focus on the equity increases that they've enjoyed, and you focused on how they can maximize their sales price at the top of the market, these absentee owners are really, really ripe for some listings. And if I could give you any hope for the 2021 calendar year and how this quarantine is still affecting us, it's the guy with the gold makes the rule. The person with the listings is really setting the market. They can hold them as they're holding them as pocket listings sometimes. They're not putting them in the MLS intentionally. When they do put them in the MLS, they stiff arm all these offers and wait you out, and they have to submit 6 offers at one time, and you're a victim. Wait until you get the listings. That's how you make money in residential real estate. You take the listings. So absentee owners, we follow an absolutely proven system. Again, you go to anniemacworks.com. We teach you how to connect with the owners on social media and how to like and comment on their posts, what to say and what to write in a personal note to them, how to answer the phone when they call, what questions to ask. We go through all of this with you, how to answer their questions, and what is the next step or the call to action when you finally get an absentee owner on the phone. How do you make the close? We're going to be covering that during the next few weeks with the folks of for those of you who want to participate. Again, it's all free. It's all sponsored by Annie Mac Home Mortgage. And these loan officers, these mortgage professionals, these branch managers across the country pay to sponsor Annie Mac Works for the benefit of the real estate community that they serve and thrive in. So we'd like to do it. We'd like to talk about a really unique thing for a moment: predictive data analytics, monitoring your best friend's online behavior. You went to high school with a kid and you both are grown now and you have children, and he's in your database or she's in your database, and all of a sudden you notice through predictive data analytics that she's consistently shopping on Zillow. She's consistently shopping on realtor.com. She's playing with mortgage calculators on her computer. You're able to see that. Is that spooky? Is that weird? That you could tell if your best friend is shopping. So the way it works is you take 1,000 contacts from your database, you load it into this software, and the software tells you by scoring the database based on predictive data, meaning are you shopping on Zillow? Are you shopping on realtor.com? Are you on real estate search sites? Are you looking at builders' homes? Are you looking at mortgage calculators? Are you figuring out how much your mortgage will be? Based on their behavior, not yours, based on your database's behavior, this software scores the data and it tells you that they're about to make a move, or they're planning a move, or they're thinking about making a move. So in order to prove this point, I'd like you to take the baby crib challenge. That's right, the baby crib challenge. It's easy. All you do is go to your own computer or Amazon or your own Alexa app. You say, "Hey Alexa, find me baby cribs for sale." Some of you just had your Alexas turn on when I said that. But think about this: baby crib. Google the word baby crib. And what you'll get is you're going to get Willowbrook, City Furniture, you're going to get Rooms to Go, Mattress Firm, Target, and a handful of others. And when you tab down, you'll see that there's 146 million results in less than a half a second for your baby crib search. Now, that's not hard to do to take the challenge, right? Simply ask Alexa to shop for baby cribs for you, go on Amazon, shop for baby cribs, or simply go into Google and type in the word baby crib. This starts the challenge. Now, what's going to happen? Go into one of the baby cribs and just look at it, but don't buy anything. Thank you very much. Don't buy anything. Just look at the price. Don't put it in your shopping cart per se. Just go in and look at the different baby cribs that are for sale, as if you're a grandma looking to buy a baby crib for your daughter's new baby, or you're having a baby and you need a baby crib. Just play the game with me. Go through the baby crib challenge, hit some buttons. Now, what happens next? This is what's important, guys. What happens next? All of a sudden, you see baby cribs on your Facebook page. You see baby crib ads on your LinkedIn page. You get TikToks about baby cribs. Instagram has baby crib ads every 5 spots. Twitter has baby crib. And you start to get direct mail about baby cribs. Do you believe that happens in 2021? Do you believe that Big Brother's watching? Well, it works the exact same way in residential real estate, guys. There's a company called Offers, OFFRS.com. There's a company called Revaluate. There's another organization that is fulfilled through Revaluate that my buddy runs called the Secret Weapon.info. The Secret Weapon.info. Now, what you do is you load your database, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Then they score your database for you on a daily basis. So they're always going to tell you what your score is. So if someone scores like 85 or below, we don't contact them. But if someone's scoring 85, 90, 92, 95, 97, you can betcha that that consumer is shopping online for houses and real estate right now. And that would alert you to at least make a follow-up contact with them and say hello. During the first Quarantined Realtor, we had a guest speaker named Chris Cusamano. He's a young agent in Boca Raton, Florida. He worked for me for the first 5 or 6 years. He was in the residential real estate business, and he runs a coaching program called Underwear Agents. I think it's like $50 a month. So it's not one of those $3,000 a month dealios. It's just a young guy with 4 kids who has never sold, at least in my knowledge, in the last few years, he's never went under 20 million a year. So he's a decent player. But what's unique about Chris isn't necessarily that he sells 20 million a year. It's that how he sells 20 million a year. He is exclusively focused on his sphere of influence in his database. He only now takes leads for his buyer's agents, but he doesn't live on those. He he really has created an environment where he can control his own destiny. I referred him a listing during the summer of 2020, and he actually acted like the listing was a pain in the neck because he had to do like a listing presentation and talk to the seller about what he was going to do to sell their house because he's so used to never being in a competition with anybody else because he works as just his sphere of influence. So if you are interested in the underwear agent, Chris Cusamano, and you're interested in the secretweapon.info, I never endorse any of these fee for service coaches across the country, but I do take a particular level of pride in Chris Cusamano because he came to work for me when he was in his early 20s. And now after 15, 18 years of selling real estate, he's doing very, very well. And he's got some secret weapons that he can share with you. The third thing that we're going to work on together is our subdivision farming. We have to have a geographic farm area in 2021 and beyond. We have to specialize in something. In residential real estate, the riches are in the niches, and you've got to be a niche expert in a subdivision. So if you don't currently have a farm, if you don't currently sell more than $3 million a year just from your farm area, we've got to help you get going. My wife has a bachelor's degree in education. She has a master's degree in administration, 30 years in residential real estate, 10 years running my brokerages, and 10 years helping real estate agents across the country with this product called Annie Mac Works. She put together a 6-week coaching program that is absolutely free from any charge for you to start to understand how these top agents across the country manage and market and stay in positive return on investment in their farm areas. That's called Farming Fridays. And these new Farming Fridays events kind of walk you through a farm area from scratch. We show you what to do every step of the way with your geographic farm area. Some of you are intimidated because you think it's too expensive. It's not too expensive to farm, especially now. There's so many digital marketing, digital farming avenues. There's ways that you can build websites inexpensively using services that build websites for you, and just fantastic. And this is probably the great gift um, of the day. I learned this from trial and error, working with our seasoned leads. I text about 100 of our seasoned leads at a time. So we go back all the way to 19. We get a group of our leads that came in during 2019, and we just text the words, "Are you still interested in buying a house this summer?" We don't text, "Hi, this is Ross from Remax." We don't text, "Hi, this is Kelly from Berkshire Hathaway." We don't text our name. We don't text our identification. We don't text our license number. We just have their number from an inquiry from last year, and we just text the words, "Are you still interested in buying a house this summer?" What happens is about 70% of those texts will come back with some dialogue. No, not now, maybe soon, hoping to save enough money, got to improve my credit. They say things like, yes, if the right deal comes along. They say things like, I can't find the right house. About 34% of all the texts that we send out will actually get on the phone with us. Once they're engaged in a text, they'll jump on the phone with us real quick. And about 20% of those contacted via lead will agree to a mortgage pre-qualification if we can get them on the phone. So, this is a real world thing that's happening today, and you'll outthink it. You'll start adding things to the text. But I promise you, we've sent tens of thousands of texts and we've gotten fantastic results. All you have to do is say, "Are you still interested in buying a house this summer?" And then the conversation comes out of that. Do your introduction text to your season leads by sending one line only. No introduction, no identification. It's legal. Are you still interested in buying a house this summer? If you're concerned that there's something illegal about that, check with your broker owner, your own real estate coach, talk to a mentor, find out if there's some violation that's not uh, that we're not aware of before you do it. But I promise you guys, I'm doing it to the tune of thousands of old leads per month, and it is the most effective text that we send. Are you still interested in buying a house this summer? Is cakewalk, and it's 10 times better than our old lead responses. Our old texts with the links built in and the apologies written in, and hey, I'm sorry to bother you. Hey, I'm a realtor. Hey, I'm still here with Remax, wondering if you need help. All that stuff went out the window when we found, are you still thinking about buying a house this summer? And a total 6.4 lead funding number after so many years of doing it. Um, I wanted to highlight the 4 sources of business that are important, and now I'm going to show you where you can get the rest of the information. If you write down the term AnnieMacWorks.com, just like it's spelled there on your screen with an X, AnnieMacWorks.com has an on-demand library that has all this stuff in it. If you go to YouTube and on your own, go into the Quarantined Realtor. Just go into YouTube and search the Quarantined Realtor. You'll see we come up all over it because we coined the phrase back in March and April of 2020 for the Quarantined Realtor. And we've been using that on YouTube and in Annie Mac Works since. And then one great invitation I have for you that's absolutely free and becoming just an incredible network of real estate agents. There's 51 agents in it today because it really just started. But these 51 agents are all people that are part of the Fitzpatrick formula. That's kind of my baby. I'm kind of in the winter of my residential real estate career. And I wanted to have some sort of a legacy with groups of agents that are taking advantage of some of this stuff. We ask them for a commitment of 10 hours per week, and we promise to add 16 transactions annually. So what you do when you join the Fitzpatrick formula is you calculate what would 16 closings in your market equal in the way of commission dollars. And the very first thing you do when you join the Fitzpatrick formula is you put your commitment in writing that you're going to work at least 10 hours a week in time blocking to sell an extra 16 transactions a year. My goal, I just turned 53. By the time I'm 60, I'd like to have a couple thousand real estate agents that have gone through the Fitzpatrick formula and are selling an extra 16 homes a year as a direct result of what we've learned in that. That private group is on Facebook. It's just called the Fitzpatrick Formula. It is a private group. You have to request entry. You'll be approved right away, and then you'll have access to some videos and some best practices, and also have some camaraderie with the other realtors from across the country that are trying to achieve the same thing you're trying to achieve. So without further ado, I will wrap up my session of the Quarantined Realtor. I hope I didn't put anybody to sleep. If you're looking to make a little extra money during a socially distanced pandemic, I'm going to recommend farming. I'm going to recommend your sphere of influence with some predictive data analytics. I'm going to recommend absentee owners because that'll put some signs in the ground. And last but not least, I'm going to recommend that you hit up your old season leads with a simple text that says, "Are you still thinking about buying a house this summer?" It's the best text I've ever seen perform in season leads, and it's our gift to you. Thank you to all the mortgage bankers from Annie Mac Home Mortgage for hosting the National Lunch and Learn League event. My name's Russ Fitzpatrick. We're happy to provide whatever value, and you can reach out to us for help anytime. Thanks so much.